This is a standard drone shot. Simple and effective, right? And here's the same shot, but color graded with film emulation. Today, I'm going to show you some cool tips on how to grade your drone footage in DaVinci Resolve. Quick disclaimer, this video isn't sponsored. All the tools mentioned here are ones I purchased myself. First things first, we need some footage to grade. Let's get outside and shoot some. When it comes to color grading, it's essential to capture footage in a flat color profile. This gives you more flexibility in post-production. In my case, I'll be recording in the D-Log-M color profile on my DJI Mini 4 Pro. It's not a true log profile, but it has more data to work with than a standard 8-bit color profile. For all my video projects, I use DaVinci Resolve Studio, which is hands down the best software for color grading. So let's jump in. Before we start, let's talk briefly about the history of film and why film emulation is so popular today. The look of film has been synonymous with cinema for over a century. Some of the most iconic films of all time were shot on specific film stocks like Kodak Vision 3 or Fuji Eterna. Each film stock has its own unique character, whether it's the grain, the color reproduction, or the way it handles light. For example, Kodak film stocks tend to offer warmer tones and rich contrast, making them a favorite in Hollywood. Fujifilm, on the other hand, is known for cooler tones and a softer look, often used in sci-fi or drama genres. However, as digital cameras became the standard, we started losing the texture and organic feel of film. That's where film emulation comes in. By digitally replicating the qualities of those classic stocks, we can bring that cinematic film look back to our digital footage. There are many options for film emulation, but today I'll show you a few of my favorites. First, let's set up our project. Go to the settings icon in the bottom right corner and tap on Color Management. Set color science to DaVinci YRGB, and for timeline color space, select Rec. 709 2.4. For output color space, also select Rec. 709 2.4. If you're on a Mac, like me, select Rec. 709A. For my first example, I'm going to use Cineprint 35 film emulation. This was developed by Los Angeles-based cinematographer Tom Bolles, who created it after extensive camera testing with various film stocks and digital cameras. Cineprint 35 includes 16 and 35mm presets for 3 different film stocks, and the node trees are fully customizable to suit your needs. It costs around 60 to 65 euros, but in my opinion, it's well worth it. I'll include a link to his page in the description below. Now, let's drop some footage onto the timeline. To install the power grade, simply drag and drop the DRX file onto the power grade album in the gallery. I'll pick the one labeled for Rec. 709 footage, since DJI's D-Log-M isn't a true log format, as I mentioned before. For the stock, I'll select Kodak's Vision 3 500T. Now select our clip and double-click on the power grade. At this point, you're nearly good to go. However, I'll add one more node to convert the D-Log-M into a proper Rec. 709 image. I'll use DJI's official LUT for this, placing it right after the noise reduction node. First, let's adjust the exposure and white balance using 2 separate nodes. Use the Offset wheel in the Primaries tab to do this. I like to modify a few of these power grade nodes as well, such as lowering the grain and halation. You can always use the key output option to adjust the density of a node, which works like a mix knob. To adjust the grain, right-click on the grain node and select Show Compound Node. If you're working in a 4K timeline, activate the 4K option, then lower the opacity of the grain to your preference. Now, let's enable the Shade Tone node to slightly cool the shadows and adjust the key output to our preference. This looks good to me now. I also like to add a power window at the very end of the node structure, so let's go ahead and do that. If you decide to purchase this tool, I recommend checking out the other film stocks it offers. For now though, let's move on to another tool. Another great option to consider is a plugin called Film Convert. It's a powerful plugin designed specifically for color grading. Film Convert Nitrate offers 19 different film stocks to choose from, although I'm not a huge fan of their new grain algorithm. But let's give it a try. This plugin is straightforward and easy to use. Simply drop it onto the node, and you'll see all the grading options appear on the left side of the interface. Here, you can download and select camera profiles, adjust exposure and white balance, and choose your preferred film stock. Don't hesitate to experiment with the different options it provides. The plugin costs around €110. The last option I'd like to share for achieving a film look is completely free and already available in DaVinci Resolve. Kodak's 2383 print emulation. First, let's return to the settings page. This time, we'll change the timeline color space to DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate. Now, let's set up a simple node structure by adding 6 more nodes and naming them. Here's the breakdown. The first node will be for noise reduction. The second will serve as our conversion node, which we'll name IDT, Input Device Transform. The next 3 nodes will handle our primary adjustments: exposure, white balance, and saturation. The 6th node will be another conversion node, which we'll name ODT. The last node will be for the Kodak 2383 LUT. For now, let's leave the noise reduction node as it is. You can adjust it later if your footage needs it to start clean. For the IDT node, apply the Color Space Transform plugin. Set the input color space and gamma according to your camera. For instance, I'll choose Rec 709 for my DJI Mini 4 Pro footage. For the output color space, select DaVinci Wide Gamut, and for output gamma, choose DaVinci Intermediate. Now let's jump to ODT node and apply another Color Space Transform plugin. Set the input color space to DaVinci Wide Gamut and input gamma to DaVinci Intermediate. For the output color space, choose Rec 709, and for output gamma, select Cineon Film Log. Now, we can apply our Kodak Film LUT, which you'll find in the Film Looks folder. Now, let's adjust exposure using the global wheel in the HDR tools. This wheel will use the correct color space for accurate exposure settings. For white balance, I prefer changing the node's gamma to linear and adjusting it with the gain wheel in the primaries. When adjusting saturation, we'll use a more advanced approach. Change the node's color space to HSV, deselect channels 1 and 3, and use the gamma wheel for less saturated areas or the gain wheel for overall saturation. Lastly, let's add 3 more nodes and name them: Power Window, Halation, and Grain. You can use the built-in DaVinci plugins for halation and grain and adjust them to your preference. Feel free to add as many nodes as you need and customize the node tree to your liking. There are other great tools, like Filmbox and Dehancer, which I haven't included in this video, but are definitely worth checking out. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.